I believe we going. I believe we live. Play this while. Make sure. What's going on? What's going on? Oh, we not live. Hold on. I think I'm gonna click off and click right back on just because. Yeah, let me do that. Currently, I'm having a connectivity issue. Hold on. It should be on.
Required. You'll forget it's even running.
All right.
No loud
Sorry
sound,
about
no
that.
annoying noise.
We
No
should be
filters
good
to
now.
change or expensive replacements to buy ever. Fourth, it's built with advanced
That's what happens when you get to
technology.
moving
You can
around,
run it
touching stuff you
24/7
shouldn't
for
be
years
touching.
without any.
So what's going on? We're about to get started here in just a second. Apologize for that technical difficult. I'm checking the cameras right now, so that's why I'm moving stuff around. But we have a good show for you guys tonight. Let me know if y'all cannot see the screen behind me. Looks like I only got trouble in this one.
If history ain't important, then why distort it? My folklore is important as my hair tortoise. Beat by their horse, we unaware of horse.
For those that don't know, y'all watching Politics is War. I'm your host, V. Ellington.
Resorting to condominium Trojan horses. Resourceful enough to see the trees from the forest. Forces to believe everything towards force. I'm retarded, I'm educated in ignorance.
Now we live on everything, all streaming platforms.
Sink or swim, we
Let's get it. They said the revolution won't be televised. Well, I said it's going to be live.
Though God died natural cosmonauts. Now they debating whether or not we gods. I'll fall for the bait or get caught with the side. We the real thing. Legendary to fortitude. Learning from Nat Turner, Sojourner Truth. Since the birth of a nation, tell me who birthed it who. I never been acclimated to servitude. My purpose grew beyond earthly views. Who the newest surveyor proved that my cause greater. A stargazer started off with small paper. Now we spend Benjamins on the watch data.
And I want to say as we get ready to start, Antifa, as we read a few times, Antifa definition is peaceful protesting, passing out flyers, and things of that nature. So I'm not encouraging any of that good stuff. But I do want to get on what's been happening in Chicago and a few of the things that we've talked about. Now, we talked about what would actually happen if ICE was to kill people in Chicago, where unfortunately we have that. We talked about what would happen if ICE started shooting people in Chicago. Unfortunately, we have that. We talked about the potential escalation of martial law underneath the directive of the mayor. And the mayor again created a directive of ICE-free zones. And as I stated last night, I think sorry about that. As I stated last night, I think ICE-free zones are extremely dangerous. And I think they're dangerous because they allow or give a plausible excuse for the federal government to say it's a state of emergency. And by a state of emergency, we will see that FEMA for better lack of any other escalation, will have a authority to take over property. All right, and in his statement, he stated that the things they want to protect was governmental property and private businesses. So it seems like it's almost a setup. But getting into what I was talking about,
This breaking news from Franklin Park. That's where
last night I asked a question about authority, and I'm gonna make sure I try to catch y'all as I come in. If I do miss a question, repeat it, and I'll try to answer it. As I said last night, who do you call when authority breaks down? Who do you call if you can't trust the state or the federal government, and you can't trust local government? Who do you call? Who do you call when local government conflicts with federal government? Who do you call when
an ICE agent shot and killed a man who'd been pulled over.
ICE says the man hit and dragged an immigration enforcement agent with his car. WGN's Jenna Barnes is live for us in Franklin Park with surveillance video.
I'm gonna pause as I'm playing this just so I don't get hit with any type of violation. ICE agents say that the man hit him, drugged the ICE agents, and that's what resulted in the ultimate gunfire. The reports and the camera evidence contradicts those statements.
How all of this unfolded, Jenna?
That's right, Ben and Micah. This all unfolded on Grand Avenue. This is a main thoroughfare through Franklin Park. That scene is now clear, but you can see this protest here behind us. The fallout has just begun. Surveillance video shows ICE.
Like I said, I'm gonna keep pausing and not to stop and delay it, but just so I don't get hit with anything. What you're about to see is the contradiction of what the ICE agent says. And again, the ICE agent says the gentleman hit him, drugged him, and that's what resulted in the gunfire.
Agents attempting to arrest a driver just before 9 this morning. That video shows the driver backing up like he's trying to get away.
Okay.
ICE says he tried to drive the car into the arrest team, hitting and dragging one officer.
Don't see the drag.
Injuries. This video angle doesn't show that, but it's why ICE says the officer shot the driver. His car crashing into a truck on Grand Avenue. Witnesses took photos as ICE officers tried to save the man, but he died at the hospital.
We need to know exactly what happened here today. We need to make sure that the government is being transparent and that we are able to hold the government accountable for their actions.
Elected leaders and immigrant advocacy
Now, who
organizations joining
does the investigation? Does ICE as a federal agency investigate its own shootings? We've already heard from the city that they don't have the authority to arrest the city of Chicago. We've already heard from the city of Chicago that they don't have authority to arrest ICE agents. So if they don't have authority to arrest ICE agents, it's very, very probable that they don't have the authority to conduct the investigation. So if they don't have the authority to conduct the investigation, who does that lie on? Who is responsible? Who becomes responsible? In response to the president's statement that he wanted to arrest the governor and the mayor, if I can get it to play, the governor and the mayor of Chicago. This is the governor.
Well, I think I've reacted that you've heard me say, sure, and what kind of a country are we living in where the president of the United States is targeting his political opponents? I mean, that is the world that we're living in now, where he is calling out. He said he was going to jail Gavin Newsom. He says he's going to jail me. He says he's going to jail the mayor of the city of Chicago. These are people who stand against him, disagree with him, speak out about it, but literally.
Now, it sounds like fun and games and like he's just talking. But we have to watch the escalation. And this is one of the things that I try to caution people against when I have conversations with when it comes to violent conflicts. Sometimes you can talk to somebody and you can think that you're trying to scare them with your vocabulary. but you don't know that the person that you're talking to wants to take it to the next level. And if they want to take it to the next level and the only thing that you want to do is argue, you shouldn't be in that conflict, because you're going to lose it, because they never wanted to argue at all. You wanted to argue. They wanted to escalate. This is from the round table that came today. And again, if I miss questions, I will try to get back at them. If y'all ask questions, repeat them in there. If I don't answer them immediately.
To all Americans, that it should be clear to all Americans that we have a very serious left-wing terror threat in our country. Radicals associated with the domestic terror group Antifa that you've heard a lot about lately, and I've heard a lot about them for 10 years.
10.
And other far-left extremists have been carrying out a campaign of violence against ICE agents and other officials charged with enforcing federal law. In Chicago, anarchists have surveilled at least 4 local ICE facilities and posted diagrams of the buildings online, meaning nothing but bad, accompanied by photos of specific ICE agents that they're targeting, one in particular who's a top person and a great person, a great patriot.
Again, this is not things that happen regularly. You don't regularly have Antifa or terrorist targeted press conferences unless the terminology of Antifa is about to be utilized for blanket, what's the word I want to use? Incarceration, right? If the definition is as blind as nonviolent protesting, creating flyers, and things of that nature, then pretty much anybody can get hit in that. Now, again, I'm definitely not Antifa, because I've never in the history of me being elected has encouraged people to do nonviolent protests or demonstrations. So I should be pretty safe. But be cautious, because let me go to it, and I'm trying to find the videos. I don't want to play the wrong ones at the wrong time. This is your FBI director.
And crushing violent crime. And President Trump sent us into these cities quietly.
Build a Hispanic Heritage Month party.
See, homicides. When politicians choose to side.
That was the protest outside, but I want to get to him talking.
We learned that the Chicago city streets have 110,000 gang members. That's right, you heard me right. They had 1,200 shootings this year alone. 360 members. That's right, you heard me right. They had 1,200. City streets have 110,000 gang members. That's right, you heard. Chicago city streets have 110,000 gang members. That's right, you heard me right. They had 1,200 shootings this year alone. 360 homicides.
110,000
when politicians choose to
gang
side
members,
with those metrics,
right,
and not their citizenry, Chicago city streets have 110,000 gang members. That's right, you heard me right. They had 1,200 shootings this year alone.
I'm from Missouri, Kansas City. We have roughly 450,000, 460,000 people in the city. So if we had a population of 110,000 gang members, do you know how many gang members that? Cut it out, man. And I don't have Chicago's population in front of me, and Chicago is definitely bigger than Kansas City. But 110,000? It sounds like the terminology that we heard from these individuals prior, with the militarization and the training grounds of American cities, is being implemented in front of us, and most of us are still talking about Democrat and Republicans. Most of us are still talking about the orthodox rule of law, when it's clear that the orthodox rule of law no longer applies. This is the lieutenant governor of Chicago. And I'm going up into the
Trump
video.
thinks that by arresting Governor J.B. Pritzker that this fight is over. He is sorely mistaken, because he's going to have to come through me next, and I'm going to pick up right where J.B. left off. Illinois stands united in fighting back against Donald Trump's power grab. Listen, if Donald Trump thinks that by arresting Governor J.B. Pritzker that this fight is over, he is sorely mistaken, because he's going to have to
My question to the people in Chicago, and particularly the elected officials, what would be the difference? If they arrest the current governor for opposing the president's regime, wouldn't they arrest the lieutenant governor? So if we're only going to operate by the orthodox rules of engagement, how do you expect anything different to happen? And I'm not saying what the rules should be. I'm just theorizing that if 1 and 1 is 2 in this in particular incident, how are you going to get to 3? If there were 110,000 gang members, they might as well be black ICE agents. Hell, they may be trying to recruit them, because when you have an attorney general that's over the United States that clearly has no regard to law, I wouldn't
This
be
is
surprised.
supposed to be an oversight.
Right? Watch this.
Oversight.
Excuse me, you can attack me after my time is over.
attacked all
of us, including President Trump, for your entire career. You can attack me later, and I know you've got plenty of canned attacks. We've heard them all day to day.
Canned attacks on you?
This is supposed
No
to
one
be.
needs a canned
Now, as I play this, remember, this is a congressional hearing. In congressional hearings, in any hearing, there's a small word that is typically used and utilized called decorum, meaning when one person talks, you allow the other person to talk, and you try to intellectually answer the question, even if you're being evasive. What we're seeing play out in front of American people is unrestrained disregard for anything that is legally antiquated law, not new law, antiquated law, anything that hasn't been established underneath this administration. And the majority of people are saying we're going to play by, and we have to play by, the same rule book. I wouldn't be surprised if the governor and the mayor of Chicago is ultimately arrested. Let's finish.
Regular order, Madam Chair, I'm trying to speak. This is supposed to be an oversight of the Justice Department. And it comes in the wake of an indictment called for by the president of one of his enemies. This is supposed to be an oversight hearing, and it comes in the wake of revelations that a top administration official took $50,000 in a bag. And this department made that investigation.
He's talking about the director of ICE. And I'm going back to my man that talked about the 110,000 gang members that might be indoctrinated into the ICE agency. And I know he's probably just talking. I have that video. I don't have it loaded tonight, but you will actually see video evidence of the ICE director getting caught in a sting operation that wasn't targeted towards him. Right? He just happened to hear about, the transactions of the money, and he got involved in. You can look this up for yourself. And got out of it. Right? Similar to the 34 felony indictments that we see currently in our top executive office.
It should go away. This is supposed to be an oversight hearing when dozens of prosecutors have been fired simply because they worked on cases investigating the former president. This is and not
What about the fires in California?
And this is supposed to be. This is supposed to be an oversight hearing. About and refuse to accept personnel. Refuse to accept. Excuse me.
And I have another clip. This ain't the one I actually wanted. I want the one where she was going back and forth. But before I say that, big shout out to my man Maurice, man. Check him out. I don't want to be wrong on the shows that you're on right now, but we got a lot of momentum coming from Missouri. This is another hearing that actually happened today.
Who gave the order to flag records related to President Trump?
To flag records for President Trump?
To flag any records which included his name.
I'm not going to discuss anything about that with you.
All right. Now, I don't want to get into the Epstein's files right now because I think that's a big distraction. But again, you have Attorney General that's clearly unwilling to answer any questions. Hyper propaganda going across the board, and the masses.
Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson from earlier today defending his city's police department, saying they respond to every 911 call.
Why I think
Then how
escalation
does
is
he
going to happen.
explain this response when federal agents who were surrounded by an angry mob needed help from the police?
Again, per the chief of patrol, we have all the units that for 999. Chief of patrol said all units clear out from there. We're not
And this
sending
audio is
anybody
supposed to be
over that
recorded
location.
Saturday.
All right, and 999, just to confirm, 39 police in Kedzie, they were saying that they were being surrounded by that large crowd, and they were requesting the police were not sending. I'm waving off all the cars heading to 39th place in Kedzie. Again, those are the orders we're being given.
Now, I'm not saying Chicago is ground zero, but it looks very eerie that the mayor in the city of Chicago is being primed for the explosion of martial law across the board. When you have, and I don't know this reporter's name.
Today, I'm sitting here with a black eye and a concussion after being violently hit in the face with a metal pole while reporting on an ICE facility just this past week. After the attack, I immediately went to three Portland police officers who refused to detain the suspect. I took the time to chase down the suspect in the streets, had her held for 35 minutes. I was waiting for Portland police to come, and then
Now, that's two different cities. Two different cities where you have allegations, and I don't know if they're real or not, but of ICE agents or people that are pro-ICE being assaulted and being attacked, calling law enforcement and law enforcement not enacting. And you have the president talking about enacting. I think this is it. Oh, wrong one.
Courts were holding.
Facing mounting legal challenges to his plan to deploy troops in cities across the nation, President Trump now saying he's considering invoking emergency powers to bypass the courts.
Well, I'd do it if it was necessary. So far, it hasn't been necessary, but we have an Insurrection Act for a reason. If I had to enact it, I'd do that. If people were being killed and courts were holding us up, or governor.
In the last 3 days since he made that statement, hasn't all of that happened? Didn't we just go through a small synopsis of ICE agents killing an individual that they said assaulted them, but on video he wasn't assaulted? And I have another video that verifies that. I think it's this one. No, I think it's this one.
This breaking news from Franklin Park. That's where an ICE agent shot and killed a man who'd been pulled over.
ICE says the man hit and dragged an immigration enforcement agent with his car. WGN's Jenna Barnes is live for us in Franklin Park with surveillance video of how all of this unfolded. Jenna?
That's right, Ben and Micah. This all unfolded on Grand Avenue. This is a main thoroughfare through Franklin Park. That scene is now cleared, but you can see this protest here behind us. The fallout has just begun. Surveillance video shows ICE agents attempting to arrest a driver just before 9 this morning. That video shows the driver backing up like he's trying to.
You're going to see the same video, and I have another one. I think that was the same one. Let me go to the president.
All I want to do is very simple. I want to get the country open, and then we're going to discuss that. And we'd like to, Obamacare is a horrible mess, and it has been from the beginning. We want to make it better, stronger, even if it costs more money, we want to make it better. The Democrats want to make it worse. The Democrats want to approve health care for illegals coming into our country, many of them coming in from prisons and mental institutions.
Again, watch this, because we have smoke screens happening as we have legislation being held up. And I want to thank you. And I definitely am going to get to the Constitution. I actually have that pulled up. So I want you to listen to that again because he does it very slick. And what I'm trying to get you guys to pay attention to is the increase in healthcare that has to happen. And then he comes back and says we want to keep it the same. You can't have both in the same conversation, but you can have a smoke screen and optics where people aren't paying attention and a definitely ballooning of insurance rates like we're about to see.
What I want to do is very simple. I want to get the country open, and then we're going to discuss that. And we'd like to, Obamacare is a horrible mess, and it has been from the beginning. We want to make it better, stronger, even if it costs more money, we want to make it better. The Democrats want to make it worse. The Democrats want to approve health care for illegals coming into our country, many of them coming in from prisons and mental institutions and drug dealers. They want to give them health care. We don't want that for our people because that's going to destroy the health care that we already have. We'd like to make Obamacare better for people, less expensive and better health care.
I don't know how you make it better and more expensive at the same time in the same conversation, but I'm trying to get people to pay attention because you have to get out of the cul-de-sac of thinking Democrat and Republicans. These are felonies. These are ICE agents. These are Antifa. Right? Look how evil they are. They obviously need to be arrested. I mean, look at them. All those years in medical school, they're probably sending money to colleges and nonprofits, all while blocking agents from entering a hospital. This is unimaginable. And I can't agree with the actions of these Antifa people for blocking agents in mass that have no identification, which goes against what used to be constitutional rights, right? You used to have constitutional rights. You had a whole bunch of stuff that was passed, from the Bill of Rights to changes in the electoral process, to the abolition of slavery, to the denial of the vote of race and color, powers of Congress to tax. These are not your constitutional amendments. I'm reading amendments to amendments for a reason. Women's suffrage, change of dates to start presidential and congressional terms, repeal of prohibition, limit on presidential terms. It's interesting that was in there because everybody's talking about 2028, which is amazing to me that a conversation about something that shouldn't even be plausible is a realistic conversation. But this is America, right? This is this is America. Let me get out here and pull up your amendment. Every citizen, see if I can make this bigger because I do need glasses. Every citizen has the right to freedom of speech. Well, that can't be true. Didn't I play a governor? And I'll get to him in a minute. Didn't I play the senator that had the legislation to create the Freedom Act so people that speak against President Trump isn't arrested? Thought you had the constitutional right. Every citizen has the right to bear arms. No soldier in a time of peace shall be quartered in private citizen's home without consent. No soldier in the time of peace. Would emergency be peacetime? Will civil unrest be peacetime? Would ICE-free zones constitute an emergency that would constitute? Personal property cannot be searched without a warrant. Well, shit, that can't be true. How many videos y'all gonna watch from Chicago, from Portland, from Texas, At least Ohio, I believe, commander came out and was like, look, dogs, we're going to protect those that are protesting. And it is what it is. Give him a shout out. But everywhere else, you're seeing personal property cannot be searched without a warrant. You're not seeing that implemented nowhere. And for those that are in Missouri, where I live at, to think you're safe, again, remember our Senator Eric Smith, has been on record several times talking about the amount of allocations that he has coming to the St. Louis region and how violent Kansas City is. Do not forget, as a state, we definitely reside in the top 10. And before people get to banging, talking about St. Louis is number 2, and Kansas City is number 3, or Kansas City is number 2, or Kansas, I don't know. But I know we're in the top 10, both cities. I know we have a senator that if he could, probably would be tied to umbilical cord to our president if he could figure out how to do that. Number 5, no person must testify against himself in the court of law. See, you ain't even making it to the court. You go into detention camps. This is stuff that we've seen in movies from the 1980s that talked about the future, that talked about the year 2000. Interesting. A defendant has the right to a fair and speedy trial. Every trial has the right to jury, no excessive bail, or cruel and unusual punishment. Dig this. And I don't have that video, but I don't need it. No excessive bail or cruel and unusual punishment. For those that like to research no cash bail. And I believe you're going to find the president highly promoting no cash bail. Well, this is a process that has been proven to be overtly repressive on poor individuals. Now, you're going to see people talking about, we don't want murderers to get out and all that good stuff. That's not what's happening with no cash bail. I don't actually want to read the rest of them. I do want to read number 22, which limits the presidents to 2 terms. And again, we've already seen presidential material for 2028. I don't know how you have presidential material for 2028 unless you plan on utilizing that in 2028. And if you plan on utilizing that in 2028, people need to be asking us, is this really why the government is shut down?
The Democrats' position has been totally consistent. It hasn't changed. We want what an overwhelming majority of Americans want.
Yeah, we do.
To end this shutdown and address the healthcare crisis that will send premiums soaring for millions.
Now, do I think he's faking about the premiums soaring? No, I do not. But when you have this,
I'm living proof that you can recover from TDS. I had strong Trump derangement syndrome for probably 8 years. This is one of the reasons I recovered from it. And by the way, it's much better to not have TDS. I'm happier, I'm healthier, more successful. I even think I got a little more attractive.
This isn't a
after
joke.
I got rid of my Trump derangement syndrome. Yes. You know, I'm a reporter in Seattle, and frankly, I could not.
The reason I played that is because you have stage reporters in the anti-terrorist Antifa press conference that they created. Everything that they're doing is optics for those that have no eyes. and it should be aggravating to anybody that has a brain, because they're not even trying to be clever with it, right? And we do have the feds here already. They haven't been raiding areas that we've seen, like we've seen in Chicago, in Portland. But yes, you are right. They are here. And our congressman has definitely guaranteed that we're going to have more. When you look at our director of FBI, is this the one? Let me find the right one. Where he talked about the summer program and how they went into cities, all 55 states, and they researched, they watched. They didn't do arrests. So if they're going into all 55 states and they're watching, he's already telling you that it has nothing to do with immigrants or immigration, because that's not who we're here for. We're in all 55 states. Where is that at? Watching. Watching who? Watching what? Violent criminals is what he said. And drug networks. The president has already labeled drug networks. This isn't it. I don't think this is it.
Internally investigate those involved. We've already disbanded the public corruption squad at WFO. We've already jettisoned these people at the FBI that were involved in the politicization of law enforcement. And if there needs to be a criminal investigation, you better believe it, we're on it.
That was the clip where he's talking about going after the political enemies of the president. But the clip that I'm looking for is a clip where he talks about Operation Summer Heat, I believe it's called.
And crushing violent crime.
Here it
President
is.
Trump sent us into these cities quietly.
Build a Hispanic Heritage Month party.
We learned that the Chicago city streets have 110,000.
No, this is
gangs. That's right, you
110,000
heard me
gangs.
right.
I'll find it as I'm sitting here talking. But there's a clip that you will see where he's talking about Operation Summer Heat. And Operation Summer Heat, again, for those that haven't been paying attention, is where they went into cities, 55 states. I must have it, must have it in the other photo. Went into cities, 55 states, and they did investigations. This is our senator, just to keep it all the way authentic with everything that I say. Missouri senator, cities, National Guard's presence in D.C. as opinion is crucial, critical crime in Kansas City, crucial to crime in Kansas City. That was just one of them. And I could feel my voice starting to crack. So I think I'm gonna be getting off here soon, chat. I don't see that video. This is our director.
My warning to them, you can protest all you want, exercise your First Amendment rights. You cross that line, you're going to jail.
Supposed to be.
You throw a stone, you're going to jail. You put hands on a life officer, you're going to jail. You make a threat, either
online or not, you're going to jail. And again, I've been on here for probably about an hour. I think we're about to get off here in a minute, chat, unless I got any more questions that I didn't see. All right. I'm sorry to, but you're not. I actually dig it. I'm sorry to disturb you, but he's speaking of healthcare, and what people don't understand is that it's illegal to give healthcare to illegal immigrants. Not to mention, he's denied these people due process, and over 80% of them are not illegal, and they have brought in over $96 billion to Social Security. Sorry, let me make sure I do that one more time. All right, so I'm just going to kind of dissect that in both ways. Yes, you're 100% right. It's illegal to give health care to illegal immigrants, and that's what makes the talking points that they're putting out concerning. because that's not what's happening. So when you have Obamacare and the ACA, there was already built in protections in there. So they're not talking about giving health care to anybody that's coming over here or anybody that just came here. And again, when we talk about universal health care, we should have an expectation of tax dollars actually being able to provide free universal health care. And I'm talking about subsidies and medication and all that good stuff. I think health care is one of the biggest scams in America, from the medication that they give people and the side effects that lead to other side effects and the astronomical costs that they know people can't pay except for being tied into insurance, which you are mandated to have. So it's a hustle, but it's a hustle only because, again, as a democracy, and I'm talking to everybody, we don't mandate that our tax dollars are actually appropriated only the way that we want. We see, again, that we have presidents.
Their city. It is not their city. It is the American people's city, and President Trump is going to restore that. I just spoke with the president about this, and he has directed his team here at the White House to begin reviewing aid that can potentially be cut in Portland. We will not fund states that allow anarchy.
So either we can say that the tax dollars are supposed to be utilized for federal improvements, or we can be copacetic and cool with a president that says he's going to utilize tax dollars to levy and penalize states. Right? I know the president has made like $3 or $4 billion since he's been in the presidency, but that still doesn't give him the authority over tax dollars, because he doesn't fund the United States government. So if he doesn't fund the United States government, and you live in Missouri, or you live in Chicago, or you live in Detroit where they still have the dirty water, or you live in Utah and you're cool with this.
Their city. It is not their city. It is the American people's city, and President Trump is going to restore that. I just spoke with the president about this, and he has directed his team here at the White House to begin reviewing aid that can potentially be cut in Portland. We will not fund.
Then you part of the problem. Because when we talk about federal aid, we're talking about money that goes to either infrastructure or solvency style programs. But he's going to cut funding to it. Hospitals and things, that people regularly use. And this is how you penalize the government of that state off of federal dollars. We seen a judge invoke restrictions on the president only to have the governor of Texas send troops to Chicago. And the troops win. This is highly unconstitutional and illegal, right? You can't have, well, you can, but you can't have a highway patrol or a National Guard or officer that's commissioned in state A go to state B and have legal authority to arrest, apprehend, detain, physically touch, or anything else. But it's happening, right? That's similar to Black folks in America when murder was always illegal on the books, yet you got people being drugged by cars with nooses around their neck. You got people being hung, beat in the streets, and you got civil rights leaders asking for justice. It's kind of crazy to be the hen staring at the fox, asking the fox not to eat you. You would think that the rooster would do something with the hen, so the hen, where the hell is that video at? And I know I uploaded it. Let me go to recent. Let me find all of these. Don't see it. Interesting. Yeah, don't see it. Apologize for that because I don't see the one I'm looking
A
for.
bill that reopens the government but does not provide back pay for every federal employee that was still on the payroll.
No, I don't think that's going to be the issue. I think the Democrats, if they'll come in here and do the sensible thing tonight or tomorrow and reopen the government, all of this is a moot point. We'll take care of the problem. But the decision point is on the Democrats, not Republicans. Look, it's always been tradition that furloughed federal employees do get back pay, and I think that will still be the case. There is some other legal analysis that's being circulated right now.
So America is burning, and the leverage point so far is taking money from states, arresting governors in states, and not paying federal workers. We had a comment in here earlier that talked about the legality of insurance going to immigrants. Well, it's also legal in a rule and a law that federal workers are supposed to be compensated if the government is furloughed. This shouldn't even be a conversation. This shouldn't even be a talking point. But as American citizens, we're sitting at home comfortably watching everything burn in front of us, talking about it's not going to affect us. Though you have to pour the concrete first. The infrastructure has to be set first. Battalions have to be put in place first. After that, after this is Chicago. This is the tropes coming from Texas to Chicago. This is Civil War style shit that we're seeing here. We're seeing states independently use their militia to occupy other states and territories. I mean, that's exactly what this is. The governor's being threatened to be arrested. The mayor's being threatened to be arrested. The head of police there saying that they can't arrest people. ICE agents have shot and killed a few people there. Let me find the video with the lady that was shot 3 times and her boyfriend arrested. And what they was doing was following the ICE agents. Before I get to them, this is today. Remember I said the government shut down.
That is
before I play this is the airport. Cali. This is not going to be the only incident, people.
Indeed, what's happening. This is a poor Southwest jet that's been sitting here in the run-up area for a long time. I think they're kind of confused or kind of surreal. This is unprecedented at Burbank Airport right now. We were just talking to them last half hour and everything seemed normal. We were talking to a controller. And then when we were coming back from downtown LA, we had seen that Governor Newsom was saying that there are no controllers at Burbank Airport. And we can't confirm that that is indeed what's happening. This is a poor Southwest jet that's been sitting here in the run-up area for a long time. I think they're kind of confused. Are we allowed to go? Do we need to wait? What is the procedure on this? I heard people talking to.
Now, this is funny, but if you stop thinking in isolated scenarios, this shit has to be strategic, right? You have the air authorities that he pulled earlier. From that, you had a lack of employees. Then you have, fast forward, you have a government shutdown, no employees there. And the airports are still operating because they have to, because it's a business. They operate independently, they say, by using old school style radios and receivers. I do not see that one at all. And again, I apologize for that because I had that one. I wanted to go over that one. That was one I definitely wanted to dive into. And I do not see it. Jeffries. That's the meeting. And the live format makes me try to move fast, probably faster than what I should be moving at times. I do not see the one that I want to go over. Yeah, so with that, I'm gonna get off here tonight just because we've been on for about an hour. Again, if you have not subscribed. As sessions start, we plan on traveling, going to Jeff City, going to DC, going to some of these hot zones and areas, and actually talking to folks. I don't see the video. I may play those tomorrow if I can find them again. Because I actually wanted to play the video of the lady that was shot up there in Chicago, because she actually survived.
Members of the Texas National Guard are at a military facility right near Chicago for legal and crowd control training. That's according to a law enforcement source. The city of Chicago.
That was again verifying that Chicago does have military presence from a different state. I don't see that video. And it's funny because I do everything off my phone, and on my phone, the format is different than when I get on the computer. And it throws me off slightly. But again, thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for getting engaged. If you have not subscribed, go ahead and do so. For those that have subscribed, I plan on doing an event soon for the subscribers. So look forward to that. On the page, we will have exclusive stuff coming out. So the Exposing the Boule, we will start doing that exclusively on there. When we get 100 subscribers, we'll start dropping that. I'm not going to go through that tonight just because, again, we're hour in. But I look forward to fully engaging on all levels. And if you are sitting at home watching, you're watching America burn, you're part of the problem. If you're not organizing in your community and you're not advocating outside of peacefully protesting, drawing up flyers, and the other stuff that is labeled as Antifa, you're definitely part of the problem. And the protests in front of the facilities have been somewhat comical, with the people dressing up in caricatures and dancing, but the legal ramifications that we're seeing being passed is real. When you see the president talking about invoking that act, that is real. When you have governments that have to challenge the law, even if it's going to cause other challenges, that creates ripple effects. And you have no leadership. You see no leadership across the board of mayors, governors, representatives speaking out. And most of them aren't speaking out because they're probably fearful, because everything has been labeled illegal. Freedom of speech is no longer freedom of speech. Freedom of papers is no longer freedom of papers. Freedom of due process no longer exists. Like, cut it out, bro. I would say the right to bear arms doesn't exist, but that always has been subject to the color of your skin and the willingness of your resolve. You've been watching Politics is War. Again, thank y'all. Give me more suggestions. As I get more suggestions, we'll grow. I think I want to end with my man here.
We are going to be introducing in both the Senate and the House the No Political Enemies Act. This is legislation that makes sure that the law is on the side of free speech and the right to dissent. Now, I wish this legislation weren't necessary, but it is now.
And again, how? Y'all letting theater play out in front of your eyes. The minute you see this being fouled, should have been a beyond the red flag. Well, all right, look here, bro. I don't know what y'all think it is, but it isn't what y'all think it is. But free speech no longer exists. Right to papers no longer exists. For those that said they in Kansas City, they are. What you think gonna happen when they hit Van Brunt? Pull up at Prospect, pull up at the park. But you know what? Y'all probably won't see them yet. Y'all probably won't see them until the new year. Because the new year brings a lot of tourism. The new year brings a lot of international traffic. The new year brings the soccer, right? We got the championship here. One would be unaware, could be considered unaware, to not pay attention to the senator in St. Louis talking about Kansas City and how violent that city is, even though he's not from Kansas City. The senator from St. Louis, I'm talking about U.S. Senator, the U.S. Senator Smith, U.S. Senator, Senator Smith from St. Louis, talking about the influx in the cash. And as big as an asshole as people talk about Holly, at least he hasn't been out front talking about bringing extra cash and feds to Missouri, bro. Pay attention, man. Get involved. I'm up.